In 2014, when I checked that invisible permission slip that I will not suffer, I made that promise to myself. And this year, there was this tolerance of, I am done carrying this. And sometimes this was just expectations. I was also done pretending that I didn't know how to fucking market myself. Okay. Recording a solo today, and I was thinking about topics specifically, and I wanted to just give you a life update. Today's going to be a little bit of a ramble, as per most of my solos are. I was trying to think succinctly around a topic, have some pretty bullet points for you, and I want to just preface this that I feel like I am in the midlife transition of, I don't fucking know, but I can feel it in my bones. I can feel it in my soul. I have felt it coming for a little while. And what I've noticed, and I'm going to explain to you the symptoms that I've observed in my life and what I did about it, how I gracefully chose to take action, and sometimes not so gracefully, but most of it was graceful, and what I am sitting with. This is actually what I love about the work that I do. And I'm just going to be incredibly transparent and honest that the last 2 to 4 years, I feel like I lost a little bit of my voice. And I have observed this with women in my career in relationships, where I can tell they have abandoned a part of themselves. And I can see it, I can smell it, I can sense it, where I'm like, you're not telling me something. There's a truth you are not being honest about. And I have never been one to lose myself in a relationship with a partner. Now, business, on the other hand, is different. And I'll tell you why. The work that I do, where I feel so lit up and aligned, is right now. I am purposely channeling this podcast recording. I am requesting to my team not to do it on video. I am sitting with discernment of what feels good to me, what needs to come out of my mouth, what do I want to talk about, who am I here to serve at this time, and I know the answers to all of that. If I deeply listen and sit with myself, I know the answers to all of that. This is where I began to lose my voice. When I am present on a podcast, when I am present on a workshop, when I am present on a speaking stage, I can channel. I can show up. Give me a microphone. I can read the room. I can read the energy of the room, and I can be. I listen to people's pain. I can tell them in an instant where their challenges are, what feels off energetically, where they are abandoning themselves. I want to say it's the last 2 to 4 years, and maybe it's not necessarily since COVID, but I've watched something, and I think with the shift of AI, this has supported this. There was a belief that I held for many, many, many years. And I know I'm not alone in this. So listen to me. If you are a business owner, listen to me when I tell you this. I held the belief that I did not know how to market myself. I have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn marketing. And all marketing is, and this has, just trust me, if you're like, where the hell is Heather going with this? I'm not a business owner, blah, 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 blah. This conversation today has absolutely nothing to do with marketing and business and everything to do with taking your power back. I have been investing in online marketing and marketing in general since 2012. The landscape has changed, but because of technology, but business basics have never changed. In order to make an impact in the world, all you have to do is get in front of new people. That's it. The way that you get in front of new people is you build your own audience, which I am doing right now by podcasting. I don't really use social media to build an audience. I am not a full-time content creator. I don't enjoy doing that. I will continue to do a little bit of it, and I'm going to tell you what I'm committing to. And you build an audience, you buy an audience, or you borrow an audience. So if you're building an audience, you're putting yourself out there as a personal brand. If you're borrowing an audience, you are literally pitching yourself to get in front of adjacent communities. So that would be me pitching myself to get on other people's podcasts and tell my story. That would be me pitching myself to do workshops in other people's communities. That would be me pitching myself to get on stages and things like that. And then buying an audience would be something like Facebook ads or like paid advertising. Okay. So you build an audience, you borrow an audience, or you pay for an audience. I have mainly built my own audience, but I have also borrowed audiences, meaning I have pitched myself for over a decade. And I knew that unconsciously I was holding on to this belief because I kept thinking somebody else has the secret. Like this person who says that they are a marketing expert has the secret that I don't have. So in the last few years, I was watching as the landscape changed. AI became busier. And what I watched coaches do, because coaching is incredibly manipulative, the online industry of coaches helping coaches and online marketing is toxic as fuck. It's manipulative, and I don't want anything to do with it. I am not really in that space. I'm more in the spiritual, personal, and professional development space for people who want to do the uncomfortable work. They don't want a quick fix. They don't want 3 easy fucking steps. They know they're going to have to financially invest in order to see a transformation. They're not freebie seekers. They don't want to download another free whatever. They want to do the emotionally uncomfortable work and get to the other side of transformation so that they can feel alive and aligned and energized. That is my ideal target audience. Those people, some of you are those people are high achievers. Those people have a DNA of wanting to challenge themselves. Those people also sabotage themselves greatly with overdoing, over-mothering, overachieving, overprotecting, overbearing, taking on way too much. And because of that, the natural side effect of that is a part of them is dying. Maybe their mental body, their physical body, their emotional body, or their spiritual body. And they are becoming apathetic. They are starting to say, I don't feel joy anymore. Or their body is literally breaking down on them. Or their mental body is like resentment and anger is brewing. Their emotional body, they're just all over the place. My clients that do the emotionally uncomfortable work are buffaloes. They go into the fucking storm. So, as the universe has it, when things are no longer working, and I think because the industry itself was starting to crumble because AI was coming in and people can no longer hide behind their fucking bullshit. Because I can go on to Claude.ai and solve the exact same problem that somebody was trying to get me to pay thousands of dollars for without any human critical thinking skills, creativity. Like, I am still willing to invest in high quality strategy. I am still willing to invest in high quality critical thinking skills. But do you want to know what else I personally have a requirement for when I'm making an investment in my personal and professional life? I have a high standard for human skills. Human skills are, and I'm going to tell you why all of this has everything to do with what I'm talking about today. Human skills are critical thinking skills. Human skills are creative problem solving skills. Human skills are communication skills. Human skills are energy management, professionalism, integrity. And that is what people are being shown right now. Now, because I had this core belief that I didn't know how to fucking market, I kept spending money, time, and energy getting on planes, going to conferences, hanging out with people, learning new skills, and being like, as an overachiever, high performer, there has to be something. Listen to me, ladies. There has to be something that I don't know. I need to solve this fucking problem. There has to be something. Where are my people? Where are my people? Where are my people? I'm talking to you guys on podcasts. Where are my people? Where are my people? Where are my people? Pay attention to everything that I'm fucking saying. I'm investing time and energy and financial resource to solve a problem that I have. Okay? I'm talking to my colleagues, and then something feels off in my intuition, in my gut. Something feels off. Pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. Something feels off. And I'm paying attention to it for a while. And then this is what I say to myself, Heather, this is a part of growth. It feels off because it's a new muscle that you need to develop. Just sit with the discomfort. It will go away. Which I believe to be true, by the way. I do tell that to people. They're like, Heather, what if I'm making the wrong decision? And I'm like, if you still feel the exact same way after you're doing the emotionally uncomfortable thing, you're probably headed in the wrong direction. And I'm still sitting with this, and I'm still sitting with this, and I'm still sitting with this. And I'm like, something is off. It's not working. Something is off. I'm hiring people on my team. Something is off. It's not working. Something is off. It's not working. I outsourced my confidence. I outsourced my intuition. I went to these people that I hired. And I want you to be mindful that I'm not talking about mentors that I hired. I'm talking about people on my team. I've talked about this before, but it wasn't just one person. And I would ask them like critical thinking, creative problem solving skills. And I'm like, something seems off. They're not answering my questions. They don't know how to solve this problem. Something is off. I hired them to solve this problem and they can't solve that problem for me. Something is off. So I listened and I just decided, Heather, because the contrast was so big for me. And I was like, I am fucking done feeling like this. But I knew that if I deeply trusted myself and I started to act as if, I would be very scared because I would have to run towards the things that I've been avoiding. I feel very vulnerable recording today's episode, but I'm doing it because I have heard so many of you tell me the exact same thing. And so I just want you to know that I'm right there with you in the arena. But I also want you to know, because I'm on the other side of it, I want you to know how I solved this problem. Panic attacks. I'm going to talk about my physical body in a second, and I'm going to circle back to panic attacks. But I want you to pay attention to what I'm talking about. And I'm saying this from a place of work, my relationship to my craft, my relationship to my work, my relationship to the impact I desire to make in the world. That was the whole reason why I got started. That was the essence of my work. Podcasting, social media, emails, all of those things are just technology and software to convey a message. But at the core of everything that I teach, I believe I am doing purpose-driven work. Like, I get so lit up when I'm working with a woman who is willing to get out of her child's way. And what I mean by that is, my belief is that I am here to wake up parents and get them to look in the fucking mirror and to do the emotionally uncomfortable work and to have the hard conversations so that they can get out of the way for their children to evolve. Nobody wants to do that work. People enjoy reading conscious parenting books. They don't like doing the conscious parenting work. Nobody does. It's fucking painful. It is brutal. So, the last few years, I have had a vision of making a bigger impact. And I'm just going to be honest, it hasn't happened. The reason why it hasn't happened is because I went down a rabbit hole believing other people could solve my problem because I believed their words, not their behavior. The last 2 years, I have literally completed a lesson that I do not believe any single words that come out of someone's mouth anymore. Like, I really don't. I don't believe my kids. I don't believe my husband. I don't believe my clients. I do not believe anyone. I watch their behavior. I watch their actions. And that is what I listen to. So if somebody says to me, if they're performing, okay, everyone is incredibly performative because they're all lying. If they're performing, you know, when you go somewhere and you can just tell people are telling you what you want to hear, I bypass that now and I just look at their behavior. So if someone's like, yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to do this, I'm like, prove it. Prove it to me. Show me. Okay, if you're going to do that, then I assume your follow-up strategy is going to be beautiful. You're going to show me how you're going to do that. I see why people have broken trust. I'm a consumer as well. But I don't think we are in a trust recession. I think we are in a connection and integrity era. The people who are going to win are honest. That's it. There's no bullshit. There's no fake it till you make it. That is long fucking gone. You can be emotionally uncomfortable, but if you are lying, you're dead to me. If you are hiding something, and I can tell you're hiding something, I will believe your behavior. She's not being honest. She's hiding something. Something feels off. The last 2 years professionally have taught me this, to deeply, deeply trust myself. The people that I invest in now are the ones in the arena doing the really, really, really hard fucking work. They're the people that are saying, oh yeah, I cried in fetal position last week. And I got up and I wiped my tears and I kept going. They're not the people that say that and then post a video on the internet lying about the truth. The lesson that I learned was not that I don't trust people. It's that I trust myself more. I think I'm a really good, quote unquote, marketer now, but the reality is I started to act as if. So there's something that I teach my clients called cold, warm, hot. And most of the only reason why I started teaching my clients about lead generation and sales was because it was everything I had to learn. So if a client comes to me and after their time and energy audit, one of the identifying gaps is lead generation and sales, which 99% of the time, if they are after a revenue generating activity or a revenue goal is part of their bigger plan, then there's 2 big chunks in marketing and sales that people always avoid for emotional reasons. So number 1, cold traffic. Again, borrow, buy, or build. Nobody, and I mean nobody, it is very rare for me to meet somebody who loves pitching themselves. And if they do, then they just love pitching themselves and they probably don't enjoy anything else. Like they don't actually enjoy the delivery of the work that they're pitching. The reason why I'm telling you this is cold traffic is like making friends. Cold traffic is like dating. And part of the reason why people don't like to do it, the outreach, I avoid it all the time. Part of the reason why there's emotional resistance around it is because it's uncomfortable. Who cares? I am sure unconsciously there's a fear of failure or fear of rejection. I don't really give a shit about going down that rabbit hole. What I give a shit about is, am I avoidant towards this task? And if the answer is yes, then it is my responsibility to do the task I am avoiding if I know it's going to get me somewhere else. And I need to stick with the task long enough for me to have a breakthrough if it's gaining momentum. So this is exactly what I did. I wrote down on a piece of paper, if I deeply trusted myself, and nobody fucking likes marketing. You know how many people I attract that are service-based and they go, I hate marketing, Heather, I hate sales. And I'm like, then get a fucking job. Go get a job. Then get out of business. If you do not want to be a successful, quote unquote, business owner, you have to put yourself out there. And if you do not want to put yourself out there, then close up your fucking business or get a job or just accept reality that this is a human experience and that it is uncomfortable to put yourself out there. If I could go back to the version of me 2 to 5 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, and I had a mentor, okay, like a coach, a one-on-one mentor, not a mastermind where you hang out with people and nobody's watching you and you can hide, a one-on-one mentor, that would say, Heather, if you don't want to do this, then close up shop. Because you are guaranteed to fail if you do not want to market. Me hiring marketing people for my team and then putting all of my power, outsourcing my power and my confidence in them, cost me so much fucking money, and it almost killed me. I'm going to tell you why I pivoted. I was starting to have physical panic attacks, and I've had panic before. And the first time I had a panic attack was a few years ago. I can't remember what was happening back then, but I will tell you now that this was a bigger stint of panic. This was more of a spiritual awakening. I have talked about psilocybin on the podcast previously. We facilitate psilocybin at my retreats. I have specific psilocybin retreats. We have a facilitator come in. I have done it a few times. It has been the most transformational experience professionally, personally. It's like personal growth on steroids. And I think once you are a advanced, active participant in your personal and spiritual development, you need to enhance your tools. This year, though, I had a stint of probably 3 months of panic. So when we were in Mexico this winter, we spent 3 months in Mexico. Lots of transition with our kids. And I noticed that I started to get scared to go to sleep. So my body was talking to me. Now, I talk about managing the 4 types of energy: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. So as this is happening, what I've observed from people is most of the time, when things like this happen, they just kind of accept it. And the thing with me is I won't accept something, but sometimes I will bear something too long. So it was happening and I was like, okay, it is what it is. Like, I just got to go through this process. Maybe it's because I'm not at home and I'm getting homesick. Maybe it's a hormone fluctuation. Maybe there's something else going on. I went on a girls' trip and I had a panic attack in the middle of the girls' trip at night. All my panic is at night. And I mentioned to one of them, because she was a holistic professional, and she literally looked me dead square in the eyes and she goes, "Oh, that's beyond my scope." And then she wanted to recommend a supplement. And I thought, that's weird. I felt so alone in my body. And I've been here before. This is literally why I started this podcast, feeling alone in the world. And when I started the podcast, it was called Mom is in Control, because I felt alone in the parenting world. And I was trying to create connection. Like, is anyone else feeling this way? And I was learning things along the way. And if I'm honest, I feel like sometimes God, universe, source, whatever, is trying to get my attention and just makes like my physical body do these things to put it in front of my face so that I finally look at it. And I'm going to share with you why I think my panic stopped. A few months ago, so I'm recording it, it's July. April, we came home from Mexico and we moved. We sold our house. We had 2 weeks to move. And moving is right there as stressful, right amongst death. So I knew that I was doing all of these incredibly stressful things while working, while taking care of the kids and all the shit that happens when we're spinning plates. I could feel my body beginning to react. And I just was like, okay, this will stop after the move. And then after the move, everything settled. I also couldn't tell if our move was linear. I've been feeling incredibly unsettled ever since my oldest flew the nest. And it's been actually a year, almost to the date, since he hasn't lived at home. I would say it's taken me a really, really, really long time to feel safe with him out of the house. And I think a part of that is just a trauma response to his birth. I was a really young mom for 5 years. He was an only child. For the first 2 years of his life, it was just him and I. And then I met Brian. And so we were bonded. And I'm getting emotional. And there was this sense of grief around him leaving home that I just could not handle. But I was watching my body react, and it's been the last year letting go. And I knew he had to leave. I knew, like deep down in my bones, I was like, you can't stay home. You have to go. You have to figure out who you are. It's time. And I feel really, really solid in knowing who I am, and I'm on my own 2 feet, but there's just always this gaping hole, this longing, this yearning that I will never get back. And I know I'm not alone in this, and I know women feel like this. And it's not even when he's home, because when he's home, he drives me nuts. When he's home, I'm like, get the fuck away, you're driving me nuts. It is this yearning of when they were little. And I see it all the time. And it's not even when you're in it, because when you're in it, you're exhausted, you're still angry, you're still resentful, but you don't know it's slipping through your fingers when it's happening. And then they get older. And then when you do get those moments with them, they come home for the holidays or whatever, you're just like, this is temporary. Who knows? Maybe next time you come back, you're going to have a partner. And maybe that will be a healthy partnership. Maybe it won't be a healthy partnership. And every time they come home, they're a new version of themselves. And it's just like, you're constantly grieving. Constantly. So this panic. Also, my fucking dog died. Okay? I had no idea where this podcast was going to go, so bear with me. My dog died. I don't think I talked about this. I posted an Instagram reel that my 12-year-old Bernese Mountain Dog died in May. I believe it was May. No, May? June? Yeah, maybe June. I don't even know how long it's been. About June. And that dog she was the dog I wanted. She was my first purebred dog I've always rescued. So I felt guilty for getting a purebred. And I got her after chemo. I saw somewhere on Instagram, someone was talking about why we miss pets so much. And it's not necessarily the animal that you miss, it's who you were with them. And I just think about the last 12 years. And I think about who I had to become. And this dog represented 12 years of becoming. I achieved a lot with her. I raised kids with her. Notice how I'm not even talking about my husband. I'm referring to this dog as if I parented my children with this dog. But it was the first dog that I had with the kids. Sorry, somebody called and I don't know why. Fun fact, I had my phone on Do Not Disturb this whole time. I don't get phone calls. I don't get text messages. I get 0 notifications on my phone. And 2 days ago, I decided to turn it on because I was waiting for an important phone call and they kept going to voicemail. And now it annoys the shit out of me. And I was like, see, this is why I had all my notifications off. Anywho, the last 12 years of my life with this dog, like she represented so much. And when we moved to this new house, also, we were leaving, the childhood home, the home that the boys were raised in. It was our second house that they were raised in. But again, that big stint of the meat and potatoes of this dog's life, the meat and potatoes of raising our children. Now one is flying the nest. I'm headed into a new season of my life, right? So we moved to the new house in April. We bring the senior dog. I thought I was going to have to put her down in the winter. So I'm holding on to this on my physical body. I know it's coming to an end. I know I'm going to have to be the one to make the decision because she's quote unquote my dog. My husband won't touch that. I'm the dog lover. And I know when it's going to be time. So we get a new puppy. I get another Bernese Mountain Dog. Her name is Charlie. She is the sweetest thing. She is very calm, exceptional temper. And I knew that she, I want a million Bernese Mountain Dogs. I love dogs in general. But anyways, we got Charlie, female. And I thought, let's get Charlie or a puppy. So Ellie, the senior Ellie Bernese, can teach her because she was an incredibly wise dog, very alpha, strong, wise, loyal, and she had really, really good boundaries with other dogs. She was not a pushover. And I was like, she is going to teach this puppy the ropes because we have a little fucking dash hound that is, he is not an alpha. Anyways, we get this puppy and I can just tell almost immediately that Ellie is done. We get to the new house. The new puppy comes into the new house and Ellie is done. She's done. She was ready. And she just kept looking at me. She was so angry. She was so bitter. She was happy, or she appeared to be, but I could tell she was in pain. And she could almost not walk anymore. And, I was just always on guard. But I knew when we brought in that new puppy and she wanted nothing to do with this fucking puppy, she was done. And there was a part of me that thought, she's like, I got you here. You're good now. You're good now. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because not everything your body is telling you is a symptom that needs to be fixed. Sometimes it's grief. When I look at those panic attacks, and I kept thinking, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this? Is it my nervous system? Is it stress? What is coming? And what I mean by this is what is coming is like Like there's this energy, there's this excavating, there's something that you can't control and you just have to listen. And when I listened to the fears that would pop up during my panic attacks, I truly believe that my body was letting go because it felt safe in the middle of the night. That was when I was at rest, and it was letting go of these old stories. And most of it was deep, 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 deep fears that I had. And it was like they were leaving my body. And I did have to take some action. One of the things that I decided to do, and I'm not even talking about the physical body itself, I'm talking more of like the spiritual, quote unquote, awakening, dark night of the soul that I've been fucking having for months, is I would look at the stories, and I tell my clients this all the time. As you can tell, you got to practice what you preach. But these stories would come up at me, and I'd be like afraid I was going to die, or afraid I would lose it all, or afraid of something. And I kept talking to my husband, and I would say, I'm done tolerating this. Or my son, my oldest son, I'm like, I am done feeling this way. I'm holding a hard line here. I don't care if you don't like me anymore. No, I'm done. I'm fatigued. There was these stories and beliefs that like kept coming up, and there was like endings. Like I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done. I don't want to experience it anymore. I'm done. I made a decision. And these stories reminded me so much of when I was diagnosed with cancer. And I remember getting my diagnosis, and there was this invisible box that I checked, and it was a permission slip. And I was like, I will not suffer. I will not suffer like this anymore. And I didn't. I didn't suffer. I haven't suffered. I've been uncomfortable, but I haven't suffered. In 2014, when I checked that invisible permission slip that I will not suffer, I made that promise to myself. And this year, there was this tolerance of, I am done carrying this. And sometimes this was just expectations. I was also done pretending that I didn't know how to fucking market myself. I was done carrying shitty people. I was done, having the same fucking conversation over and over and over and over again with people. I'm just like, I'm going to have this conversation once, and then I'm letting it go. And if they don't pick up the pieces, it wasn't meant to be. I'm done. I'm done going 90% and other people going 10%. I'm done trying to create connection with my father. I am done trying to have a deeply connected relationship with other people who say they want a deeply connected relationship, but their actions are not aligned with their words. I'm done. Now, I want to share something else with you. When I said I was done, when these panic attacks kept happening over and over and over again in January, February, March, off and on, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this? I know this stuff. What is this? What is my body trying to tell me? Like, I practiced what I preached, and I had to go through it. I couldn't control it. I had to go through it. And it was starting to trigger my fear of being sick, because I know that time under tension equals disease. That if I did not figure out this fucking chronic stress, I was going to get sick. So I didn't avoid it. I'm in Mexico, or I was in Mexico, so I started seeing a functional medicine doctor. I got a placenta injection. I'm going to be interviewing her on this. I'm actually going for my second one. And I just wanted a different perspective. I wanted a different perspective on my health. I wanted a different perspective on my body. It was like my body was letting go. And I was letting go of these stories and these beliefs. And when I look back, I think about the release of a home, the release of my dog. It was like my body was forcing me to look at unconscious shit that intellectually I didn't have to solve. I just, honestly, it just fucking sucks. And being in Mexico, I started going to see this functional medicine doctor because I just wanted her opinion of what was happening to my body. And I know she's coming from a medical background. She's in regenerative medicine. I was like, my PMS was getting worse, my hormones. And I'm like, sure, I hit 40. I've already been in menopause, medically induced menopause when I went through cancer. I went through treatment. But I want to be proactive about my body, and my body is trying to tell me something. So if my body is trying to tell me something, I have to listen, right? So this is like my kids talking to me. I have to listen. What is my body trying to say? What are these whispers? How can I intuitively, deeply trust myself? So I did the due diligence and I hired the professionals, not from a place of panic, not from a place of insecurity, not from a place of fix these problems, but just truly looking at my body needs my support. And this is what I was going to say. I came home and I moved, and I had this stint of trips planned. One was to visit my son, one was for business, and one was for a girls' trip. So I would be gone for about 2+ weeks. It did not light me up. It did not light me up. First of all, my son decided to leave where he was living and go somewhere for the summer. So he wasn't going to be there. So that changed my plans. The business event that I was going to go to, I was super excited actually to see the people that were going to be there, but I already had this letdown of the reason why I extended my trip was to see my son. And then I was piggybacking a friend event off of that. Something inside of me was telling me not to go. I started with symptoms of neuropathy where I would have this numbing in my feet and my hands, and I would get into incredible pain through my arms and my legs. Still have it, but not excessive. My body was shutting down. The fatigue was kicking in hard. And I'm like, what is this? So I just canceled all my travel. I actually came back to Mexico. I'm in Mexico right now, so I did decide to do that. But the only reason why I'm here is because I'm going back to the doctor to get a second opinion. And I've done all the things. I've hit my MDs, functional doctors, NDs. We're hitting all of it. We're getting the blood tested for hormones, meaning if I need bioidentical hormones. We're just doing the midlife shit. And I'm not scared. I'm not. And the reason why I'm not scared is because I deeply trust myself. I deeply trust myself. And I think I'm emotional because I believe that. And I started this podcast, this episode, talking about how I lost trust in myself. I gave my power away in a relationship. And that was the relationship to marketing. That it's not about doing nothing. Because if you just sit there and think people are going to walk into your fucking door or show up on your doorstep or slip into your DMs, you are living in Delulu land. They won't do that. You do need to put yourself out there. And then you need to deeply trust the strategy that you've learned. You need to trust that the information you have acquired is enough data for you to create your own strategy. And I have watched this with my clients. I've been teaching them how to trust themselves for years, but I've watched it over and over and over again in the last few years, especially as the world gets louder and louder and louder. And I'm like, what would you do? Well, I don't know, Heather, tell me what to do. No, what would you do? What do you want to do? Do you want to shake your ass on Instagram, or do you want to pitch yourself and speak on stages? What would you do? If you deeply trusted yourself, what do you think your child's behavior is telling you? If you deeply trusted yourself, would you stay in this marriage? If you got radically honest with yourself, what do you think your body is telling you? Because I'm sure it's not another gut health protocol. I can feel hope being on this other side of this fucking dark night of the soul. And I can tell you that mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual energy management is real. It is real. And spiritual energy management fucking sucks sometimes. Because spiritually, I had to look at where I was not feeding my soul. I had to look at where I was pretending I didn't know the answers. I had to look at pretending I didn't know what desires I wanted or had. Mentally and physically, I was holding on to things that I no longer wanted to carry. I was done. I raised my standard. I was done. Goodbye. This part of me is done. It is dead. I put in my work. I am midlife now. I am 40. I'm done. And that's what I felt my dog gifted me. I felt like she carried me to this threshold of a new beginning. And she's like, I am not going to be a part of your next decade. I got you here. I can't get you there. This is on you. You have to deeply trust yourself, Heather. You know what you're carrying and you need to let go. You know what conversations you need to have. You know who you are trying to please, and they're never going to show up for you the way you need them to. And you need to let all of that go. All of it. And you need to show up for you. You need to show up for your soul. You need to show up for the work that you want to do and the impact you want to make. And you need to do the emotionally uncomfortable work on a daily basis. You need to chip away at your profit rule, the 3 daily 20-minute tasks. You need to develop those muscles. And you need to let it all go right now in the season, just to see where the cards lay and then pick them up one by one. I also completely stopped working out. I know it's seasonal. I had to get my body under control first before I started progressively overloading again. And it's driving me nuts because I feel gross about it. I feel saggy. I love working out. When you're on the internet, everyone's telling you progressive overload. And deep down, intuitively, something was like, that's not for you right now. And I'm in a season of deeply trusting myself. If you deeply trusted yourself, what decisions would you make? Because what I'm observing is a lot of women are avoidant AF. And the reason why they're avoidant is because they know if they actually trusted themselves, people would be pissed off. And I'm just not willing to die while I'm still alive. So the only way out is through. You got to feel the pain and go into the dark night of the soul if you want to find the sunshine. Thank you. Also, thanks for listening to me cry. And if this touched you in any way, please send me a private message on Instagram. I'm the only one who checks my messages. That's it. There's a new book coming. It's coming. I can feel it. This little motherfucker is going to come out, and I'm working through it. This is it, ladies. If you think this shit is fun, Jeepers Crow. Take an Ativan. All right. Love you. Bye.